One happy So What Day. We are on the heels of a big holiday weekend, so welcome back, everyone. If you are traveling or just taking a break, I'm getting into the swing of things here, and we are still full force in Halloween decor, Halloween projects, costume planning, all of those fun things for the upcoming holiday coming up. So, I have another great free pattern to share with you all today. It is our Halloween bucket bag. And this is a pattern where you will need to print out a few pattern pieces. So we are doing something a little bit different. Rather than putting this project up on the blog and having you click on all kinds of links to download all the pieces for the pattern, we went ahead and packaged up this freebie like a traditional digital pattern. So it is at sulky.com. I linked to the information in today's the description of today's post, so you can easily click on over and find it. You will see it at sulky.com, and it is free. It is listed at $0. So you just add that freebie to your cart and kind of go through the checkout process, even though you don't need to pay for anything. And then that PDF will be available to you in your sulky.com account, and you can print it out. You can simply download it and bring it onto your screen and follow the directions. However you want to do it, it will be there for you. The great thing is that it will also be stored in your account there for future reference. So if you're anything like me, you grab up all these kind of free patterns and free embroidery designs and all that kind of stuff, but you might not be ready to make it quite yet. And there it sits in your computer somewhere. And inevitably, when you go to use it, you can't ever find the thing. So thankfully, this free pattern is going to be stored in your sulky.com account. And if you ever lose it or need to download it again, you can simply log into your account at sulky.com and easily find it. So it's kind of a new thing that we're offering now on our brand new and improved sulky.com website. I hope you all have had a chance to look it over. We launched about a month ago with our new site, and it's just so user-friendly. It's got very beautiful images. It's a place where, you'll want to hang out. So we've really tried to make things much easier for you to navigate on the site, easier for you to shop and find the things that you're looking for, and all that good stuff. So the free pattern is this Halloween bucket bag. And I'm going to go through most of the how-tos for the bag with you today, so that when you do go and download your free pattern, you'll have a little bit of an overview in the back of your mind as you're going through it. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments or in the live chat, whether you're viewing here today on Facebook or on our YouTube channel. Put in those comments and questions, and we will have a few Q&As during the So What today. And anything that I don't address here live, we will be addressing in the chat and in the comment field. And we always go back after the live feed ends and try to answer everyone's questions. So be sure to use that, to its fullest. And if you have another specific question, maybe about a different sulky tutorial or product, feel free anytime to reach out to us at info@sulky.com and just shoot us an email, and we will get back to you and help you come up with some solutions should you need. All right, so this Halloween bucket bag is really cool and unique. What I love about it is it features embroidery done in sulky cry thread. Cry stands for coated reflective yarn, CRY. So that's, we're not crying over the thread or anything, but You will absolutely love working with it. It is such a neat special effect that you can add to your projects. And not only is it great for Halloween when, we might be out at night, trick or treating with the kids or out at, block parties, things like that. But it's also great for workout wear. If you are someone who, walks the dogs when you get home from work, that type of thing, and the days are getting shorter. It's getting darker a little bit earlier, and even if you're out there before dinner, sometimes it can get dark on you. And adding a little top stitching to an existing hoodie sweatshirt or jacket or dog collar, or even parts of the dog leash, things like that. It is a great way to make sure that you are seen at night, because anytime those car lights come around, they're going to reflect off of the thread. So it's very, very cool. It's similar to glowy in that you will be seen at night, but it's not a glow in the dark. So it doesn't need to sort of be charged by light. With our glowy thread, you'll get a faint glow just by even, the lights in your room kind of charging the thread. But if you put that thread up to a light bulb for quite some time, you'll get a really good charge out of that glowy. But Cry doesn't need that at all. It's coated thread that has these reflective properties to it. So anytime that light hits you, you're going to be able to be seen. So fleece headbands for runners, things like that. It's a really, really neat, embroidery embellishment you can do as featured on this bag here. But if you aren't into machine embroidery or you don't have an embroidery machine, you can also use it for top stitching, decorative stitching, that type of thing, and still add these reflective special effects to your projects. So the thing to note is, since it is a coated thread, and here's a picture of it close up so you can see it. It does look gray in the daytime. Okay, so important to note, it is always going to look this gray color. There's only one color of this thread. And then, when it reflects light, like you can see here, it almost looks white, because it's just lit up. So it is coated, so it's going to be a little heavier weight than what you would experience when working with, let's say, a sulky rayon or our sulky poly deco threads, which are 40 weight threads that we use for embellishment, machine embroidery, quilting, even construction with that polyester thread. So it's going to be a little heavier weight. When you're using it for machine embroidery, you want to keep that in mind. You don't want to choose a design that has a ton of heavy stitch fills in it, because the thread is going to kind of stitch on top of itself almost because of the fact that it's a little bit thicker. If you find a design that is digitized for a 30 weight thread, that's going to work great with Cry. So if you're using a design that is not digitized for 30 weight, which this design that is featured here, it's a design from Embroidery Library. That design is digitized for 40 weight thread. But since the fill stitches are all satin stitches that are relatively the same width, it worked out for this design just fine. If there was a lot of overlapping stitch fill and denser stitch fill areas, that Cry thread may have not worked as well. It's also important to pair this thread with a lighter weight bobbin thread. You can use sulky bobbin thread, which is a 60 weight thread, so a lot finer than that Cry thread, and that creates a nice balanced stitch. You don't want to sort of waste the Cry thread by using it on the underside of your garment. First off, it's going to make your embroidery too thick. It's going to have that bulletproof quality to it. Secondly, you're not going to see the wrong side of most garments and things like that. and you don't need the wrong side to ever be reflective. So pairing it with a lighter weight bobbin thread is going to ensure that some of that top thread wraps around to the back side ever so slightly. That's how we know we're getting a balanced stitch, where you don't see the bobbin on the top and you see a tiny little bit of that top thread on the wrong side of your project. That's what you want here. So with cry, you could go with a black bobbin thread if your fabric is darker, or the white bobbin thread if your fabric is lighter. So for this, a black bobbin thread with the cry for portions of the embroidery. Now, this bag was designed by Anna He of Seattle Cosplay. Check her out on Instagram, follow her on social media. She does some phenomenal cosplay work. And, really, really loves working with sulky thread. She just, her Instagram is so inspirational. She does all kinds of period costumes and things that are great fodder for kind of your Halloween imagination. But really any time of year as well. So check her out. She designed this bag, and it goes along or sort of matches this project that she did for us last year, which is this great pinafore. It's like a decorative apron type deal. So we brought you this project last year, and this features a little bit of that cry thread as well. And you can see she didn't use it for the entire design. She just picked certain thread colors to kind of swap that cry thread into the project. So it still has some definition, and when you're just during the day, or at your work party, let's say, you have a little bit of that special effect, but then still using the yellows and the black threads to kind of pop off of that too. So you don't have to use the cry thread for the entire design. You could use it just for the outline stitching of designs. So once you choose the design you want to use, and maybe you do a test stitch out of it, you can see, maybe that larger pumpkin here featured on the apron had a little bit too much fill stitch. So then she chose to do the cry on just those little swirly parts of the design. So do a test stitch out and kind of plan which thread you're going to swap in for that cry thread. So this kind of goes with our little treat bag that I'm going over today. And we still have the directions for this project as well on our free projects page at sulky.com. So you can get all the tutorials if you want to go ahead and make this matching pinafore apron. I think it's a really cute idea for Halloween to, kind of make up your own character, make up your own little scenario, and maybe, you're a pumpkin chef type thing, so you make up your own costume. And this is just a fun thing to also wear if you're just answering the door on Halloween night to hand out candy. So, you're a little bit festive and you're in the spirit. So really cute. She also added a lot of decorative threads to this, bordering that design as well as along the hem, and then along all of those seams on the body of the apron. So just love it. Very cute. So back to the bag at hand. It's a bucket bag. So the bottom of this bag is kind of like an oval shaped. So it's great for handing out your candy on Halloween night, or you could personalize these and make them for little ones who are trick-or-treating. They could have, their costume theme or their character name on them. And using a little bit of that reflective thread is really, really great when they're out trick-or-treating so that they can be seen. You can obviously swap out these fabrics and make this for any time of year. The other great thing about that oval base that this pattern has is you could take your sort of, plastic Halloween tub, if you will, of candy and kind of rest it inside of this much cuter bag. And then you have, a really cute addition to your Halloween decor. Okay. So another thing that was used for this bag was our Halloween machine embroidery palette. Here, hold on, let me show you that picture. This machine embroidery palette comes with a bunch of Halloween themed designs, such as the ones I was just showing you here. And it comes with 10 spools of sulky thread that you can use to sew out all of those designs. So you don't need to go hunting through your stash and find all of those great Halloween colors that you need for this collection. They're all right here in front of you in this palette. And it also comes with this great gold metallic thread, and that is what Anna used for the inside of that little embroidered pumpkin face. So for the eyes and the mouth of the pumpkin, that gold sparkly metallic thread is in there as well. So you can choose any design you want for that front or the top part of this bag. A long design like she used is really cool because it takes up that whole space. But again, this could be easily personalized with a monogram, different designs you could take from the Halloween palette here and add to the front of your bag. So for today's giveaway, anybody who is commenting, liking, sharing, adding to the live chat here on YouTube, all kinds of things, all those great little ways of engaging with the post today, you are all eligible to be the winner of a spool of Cry thread as well as a Halloween themed embroidery collection. So I'm going to compile our top Halloween themed machine embroideries and send them off to you via email. And then you will also get a spool of the Cry reflective thread so you can try it for yourself. So one lucky winner will win this, and I will pick the winner around tomorrow. I like to give everybody about 24 hours from when we air the So What until I pick the winner. So make sure you're giving me those thumbs up emojis, those hearts. Make sure you're commenting, liking, sharing, all those great things. All right. I'm looking at all the comments here. Nice thread. All right. Jackie wants to know if the design is on the front and the back of the bag. It's only on the front, and I'll show you the plain back as well. So if you don't want to add embroidery, you certainly don't have to. You can grab the free pattern and choose any kind of fun Halloween prints that you have on hand. Or like I said, choose any fabric you like. It doesn't have to be for the holidays. You could have some, get some greater longevity out of the project. Let's see. Loving the color palette. Okay. I think I'm caught up on the chat, but let's see. So I'm getting distracted by all the comments that just came in about the giveaway. Okay. All right. So let's get back here. Let me see where I am. Okay. So first and foremost with the project, we always want to start with the embroidery first for the most part. Unless we're adding embroidery to a certain area of a ready-made project, it's always a great idea to do your machine embroidery before you even cut out the pattern. Because then, if your embroidery is ever so slightly off-centered or your fabric wasn't hooped perfectly straight in the hoop, then you can cut out your pattern piece after embroidery is complete and center it along that piece. So I always recommend start off with your machine embroidery and then move on from the project from there. So for the embroidery, it's like I said, on the top of that bag. So you can take your fabric piece for the front, cut it out a little bit larger than needed, or as large as you need to fit in your hoop. Pair it with some sulky Tear Easy. Now, Anna used a Kona cotton, so kind of a mid-weight cotton fabric for that base of the bag. For that, I kind of always use 2 layers of Tear Easy. And when embroidery is complete, if you're ever using multiple layers of a stabilizer, you want to remove them one at a time. You don't want to try to remove 2 layers of stabilizer together because it could pull on the edge of the embroidery stitches, and then you'll get some puckering along the right side, and part of your design could roll towards the wrong side. So just remember to remove them one at a time when your embroidery is complete. So if you're using a lighter weight sort of quilting cotton for this, 1 layer of Tear Easy might be enough. I always suggest doing a test stitch out or even part of the stitch out on the fabric type or hand or weight that you're going to use, so that you know how much stabilizer you're going to need for your weight of fabric. But in general, you want to pick a stabilizer that feels similar to the fabric that you are embroidering. So I would do 2 layers of Tear Easy with that sort of medium to lightweight cotton fabric, and hoop your fabric, load your embroidery design into the machine, and then simply stitch it out according to the stitch sequence chart that came with your design. Now, again, if you're going to swap in the cry thread for portions of that embroidery, just be mindful or mark on that stitch sequence chart, highlight it, mark it in big letters, subbing out cry thread so that you have a visual clue, because a lot of the times we get really sucked into the machine embroidery and we're just swapping out threads as, our machine tells us to, and then we forget that we were going to swap in that really cool special effect thread. So make yourself a note and make sure when you get to that particular step of the design that you're swapping in your really fun thread. Another thing to note, I like to grab up assortment packs of embroidery needles, especially for a project like this, because for that cry thread, we're going to need to use a little bit larger needle. So we're going to use the 9014 embroidery needle. And then if we swap in a lighter weight thread, like the sulky rayon, or let's say we want to add some lettering, so we're going to use Polylite, which is a 60 weight thread, even lighter than rayon, we're going to need to go way down to that 7511 needle. So if you pick up an assortment pack of needles, because we always want to swap out a new needle when we're doing a new project, keep in mind for that heavier weight thread, we need that larger needle, and then we also need to swap our needle when we're going back to the lighter weight thread. So if you're using glowy or the cry reflective thread, you want to go with that larger needle, and so forth. Also good to note that while you are picking up your assortment pack of embroidery needles, the construction thread for the bag itself, we're using 50 weight cotton, sulky 50 weight cotton thread. So since that's 50 weight, we need a smaller needle as well. So for the 50 weight cotton for the construction of the bag, we're going to use a 7010 universal. So I know that was a lot of numbers I was just throwing out at you, but if you can keep telling yourself the higher the number for the thread, the lighter weight it is. The higher number of the needle, the larger it is. I know, confusing, right? Okay, hopefully you're catching my drift here. All right, so after we complete the embroidery, you're going to remove that fabric from the hoop, gently press away if you have any hoop markings on your fabric piece, and then cut out your strips according to the pattern. So there are a couple of pattern pieces. There's your base piece, your top piece, your lower front piece, and then we're going to also add some really fun ruffle trim in between the top and bottom portions of the bag front and the bag back. So you've got about 3 pattern pieces that you'll need to cut out from that free pattern, and then center up your embroidery. And by all means, you can add embroidery to the back as well as the front if you would like. Okay. After we get our pieces cut out, we've got to make the straps. So for this, we're taking our strap piece. You will fold it so that your long edges meet along the center, and then fold your strap in half again and simply top stitch on either side. And boom, the straps are done. Also, the straps are showing on the front and back, meaning the strap ends are exposed. They are not inserted into the seam. They are added actually after the bag is constructed. It's another little sort of decorative element to your bag. So you'll want to fold in those side edges before you do that final fold and top stitch so that your whole strap has no raw edges showing. So once you do that, you make your 2 straps. Go ahead and set those aside. We will see them later. Okay, and like I mentioned, we've got this really pretty ruffle trim. Now, you can use whatever ruffle trim you like. It does not have to be a certain width. The pattern's going to tell you what width that Anna used for the bag, and you can certainly go and replicate everything that she did for this, but take liberties. You know, if you've got some random pieces of pretty lace trim in your stash, use that. If you have a crochet edge kind of ribbon, that would be really cool. If you want to kind of make your own ribbon out of some fabric strips, all you would do is basically fold your piece of fabric in half and then gather the top edge. That way your bottom edge is folded and it's, you know, nice and enclosed, and you'll see both right sides. Gather the top edge to make kind of just a freestanding ruffle. You could add that to the bag. So either ends, or both ends, I should say, are raw because we are going to sew this together with the back side of the bag as well. So you'll create your front side of the bag using that top embroidered piece, your ruffle trim in between, and then your bottom piece. Notice that the bottom piece is also gathered along the top and bottom edge. This just kind of gives another little decorative element to your bag, as well as a little bit of body. So it just adds a little something something to the bag that, you know, is something unexpected. It also, you know, gives it a little more of that sort of bucket shape. So you can really fill it full and, you know, gives you a little bit more room towards the bottom edge of the bag. So you'll gather that bottom piece to make these dimensions here listed on this image. And all these instructions are in the free pattern that you will download. So you don't have to worry about writing any of this down or remembering any of these numbers or measurements because it's all in the pattern for you. All right, so once you have these 3 pieces for the front and your 3 pieces for the back, you will sew them together. So we've got our front and bottom. And you can see, you know, it's not a straight rectangle. It's kind of this fanned out, you know, piece. So now we're actually going to add a layer of felt interlining into the bag. So again, this is going to give the bag that structure, and it also kind of allows you, when you're constructing the bag, to have a better handle on that front and back piece. So it gives you that stability as well as the structure for the bag. And honestly, you could just use some craft felt for your felt interlining. You don't have to go crazy with it. This was just some craft felt. So you will you'll cut those pieces front and back, pin your pieced front and back sections together with the felt interlining, and just base the perimeter so that now we have a front and a back acting as one with the interlining applied. So then it's just a matter of stitching up those side seams and then adding your base piece. And the pattern will explain everything, how this all works together. There are some notches on the pattern so that you can match your base oval to your bucket bag front and back. You'll match those notches and pin, or use your trusty wonder clips, and then baste and sew together the bottom of the bag. Then you'll create your lining, exactly the same as you created the outer bag. Then we put our lining inside the outer bag with right sides facing and sew that upper edge. Now, of course, we need an opening for turning. So don't forget your opening for turning. You'll turn the whole thing right side out, close up that opening, and then we add the straps. So before the straps are added, you will see Anna used a bunch of decorative stitches, and again, these decorative stitches really mimic the decorative stitches that were used for this matching apron pinafore. So you can do the same as she did and add all kinds of decorative stitching. You can add more top stitching using the cry thread. Do all of that before you add your handles. Then you will put your handles on, and you can see here she just did a little box of stitches on the ends of the handles, and then a little X inside there. So you could choose a thread that matches your fabric, so that kind of disappears, or you can make it another little decorative accent. You could do your little X's using spider webs or additional fun decorative stitch options as well. So she also added a silk ribbon to this just as a little more embellishment, because let's be honest, Halloween is the time where we can go over the top with all of our embellishments and fun stitches and extras and all that stuff. So if you don't want embroidery on yours, add a bunch of decorative stitches. Use that cry thread in different and unique ways. Add some fun decorative ribbon to it. You could personalize this with someone's name. So this is the back of hers. But again, you could add embroidery to the front as well as the back, or no embroidery at all. You could kind of quilt through that felt interlining and that top piece and have a really cool quilting design, or some, crosshatch kind of designs or houndstooth kind of look to it, depending on what you want to do with your pretty threads. So it's actually a relatively easy project to get through, and so many different ways of personalizing that. Grab some fun ribbons from your stash or lace trims. You could double or triple them up and have different tiers of lace trim coming out of that seam of your bag. So really, different ways of making this your own. Also, you could simply make the lining and the outer all that lining piece, so you don't have any seams on the front of your bag, and you could choose a really fun Halloween print and make that the entire front and entire back of your bag. So you don't have to do those two pieces with the trim. You could simply cut a full pattern piece as you would do for the lining and make that your front and back. Add embellishments as you choose. So lots of different ways of reimagining and reinterpreting this project. Okay, let me make sure we are caught up on questions. Lots of people saying great idea and they like the bag. Ooh, this is a great idea. So using fun buttons on the handle attachment. If you have some really cool buttons, even mismatched buttons, this is a great place to use those. A lot of the times we pick up one button at the store here or at a craft show or this and that, and we're like, where am I ever going to use this? But I absolutely had to have it. You might have a few of those in your stash. Put those on the handle attachment, and then you've kind of covered up that stitching if you so desire. So that is an absolutely great idea. All right, and using piping instead of lace. Really, really great idea. Oh, yes, because Anne said, how would you adjust this for a boy without that lace? So again, you could omit the lace altogether. You could still have a section for the top and section for the bottom in two different fabrics. Maybe pick a fabric print that goes with the child's costume and then personalize that top portion. Or again, just create one pattern piece using one fabric instead of the two and omit the lace altogether. Or like someone said, use piping instead of lace right there. So that's the fun thing, is you can insert any kind of trim into that spot. Let's say your kid's going out for trick-or-treating and they're going to be a cat. You could do a piece of fur trim around the bag right there and kind of tie it into the costume. Or let's say, you're going as like a flapper girl or something. You could add some really cool fringe trim around the bag and just kind of nod to the costume, So if your costume has any kind of trim to it, get a little extra and add it to a matching treat bag. Okay. This is a great tip, making the strap stronger by putting something in that strap. So you could choose some heavyweight sulky stabilizer and put that into your strap. I like to use fusible fleece inside of my bag straps a lot of the times. Fusible fleece makes them really, really cushy, especially a shoulder bag. It will change your life putting a little fusible fleece into the straps of your bags. Then you don't have the stress of all of that. And if you're going to be lugging around a whole bunch of candy, good idea to strengthen your straps a little bit. Okay. And rickrack would be fun. Great idea. I love that everyone brings their ideas to really make this your own and give it, a little twist. Okay, and yes, a great princess bag. You could use lace for that, or you could even use like strips of tulle if you're going as a ballerina or even like a mermaid. You could get a mermaid sequins for the bottom of the bag and then add some kind of tulle ruffled trim to it, and that would be really cute. And I guarantee you that child will want to use that bag for a long time after Halloween. They will absolutely love it. Okay, so let's see some other things I wanted to share with you today. Oh, so if you watched So What last week, we were making costume masks. So another kind of accessory you can make to add to your costume, or if you're not one to kind of dress up all head to toe, but you still want to get into the spirit. So we made the mask-a-lantern, right? Here's our mask-a-lantern. This tutorial is all on the Sulky blog, blog.sulky.com. If you missed it last week, there is a printable for the appliques and links to get this mask pattern for free as well. So we made mask-a-lantern with these ribbon ties, and then I was making our Skella mask and I wanted to show you how it came out. So I finished Skella mask, and someone had the idea of, instead of these ribbon straps, let's use elastic. I wanted to use elastic to go around because my kids are kind of getting sick of this elastic around their ears, and I find that when it's all around their head, it's a more comfortable experience for them. So I was going to do that, but then somebody else said, well, I do want the elastic to go around my ears, so how do we do that? So I made this one with elastic that goes around your ears. It's a simple elastic loop. I made it larger for myself, and then my kids wanted to try it on. So now I have just knotted the elastic to kind of cinch it up, and I can always take that out once they grow a little bit, or if I want to wear it, that kind of thing. So Skella mask is complete. It is a simple applique using fusible web and decorative stitches to secure the appliques. And I just wanted to show you how it turned out. So we've got Skella mask, and this has become the inspiration for the whole rest of the costume. So my son wants to wear this one, which it's going to be so easy now because I can just get him a black sweatsuit, add some more bone appliques to it, and he is done. So that was like the greatest thing to happen out of our costume mask tutorial last week. But I also made the mustache variety because I talked about using some leftover faux fur if you have that in your stash, or you can just go get a scrap of faux fur, or purchase like, you know, an eighth of a yard of it at the fabric store and use faux fur for the mustache applique, and then grab some fabric that kind of goes with your skin tone for the rest of the mask, and then you have a little kind of cowboy costume, or even, you know, this is kind of similar to like a Super Mario mustache, that type of thing. But my girls are actually like fighting over this one. So they are thinking of a costume to go with the mustache and the lips as well. So really cute. Finish that one. And now you've got, this could be a costume for every day. Am I right? You don't need to wait for Halloween to wear that guy. Oh, so really funny and cute. So I just used a piece of fleece, and I sewed the wrong side of the fleece as the right side. Sometimes it's really hard to tell what's the right and wrong side. Maybe there is no right and wrong side of fleece, but this one was kind of a more textured fleece. So it did appear to have a right and wrong side. So I just used the fluffier side for the portion of the mask. It's kind of hard to see in the video, but when you look at the mask, you know, up close, or, you know, every day off camera, it really looks furry and kind of textured. So that was a fun idea. So the only other one I have to make from the applique template that was provided for free on the blog post are the lips. And I really want to use a shiny kind of vinyl for the lips. And then I'm going to use this same fabric that matches my girl's skin tone. And then they may go as cowboy and cowgirl. And I think that is so adorable. So we'll see if that sticks, because they like to choose one costume, you know, in September, and we work on it for a few weeks, and then they would like to be something else. So sometimes we have Halloween 1.0 and 2.0 and 3.0, and they wear something else for school, and then they'll go trick-or-treating in something else, and then, you know what? It's all in good fun. So, you know, and a lot of the times these costumes, you know, they'll just play in them as well. So they do last a little bit longer than the one big day. All right. So I hope you have a lot of ideas for quick and easy costumes you can do. You know, if you want to dress up for work and you don't want to do the head to toe thing, just make a really fun mask and you're in the spirit, you know. Answer your door on Halloween night wearing this one, right? That'll scare the kids without really scaring the kids. All right, so I just wanted to share that with you. Okay. What fusible did you use for the mustache? So we have a brand new Sulky fusible web, and it's just not ready quite yet for you all to purchase, but I cannot wait for you to use it because it is so easy to use. It is so lightweight. It is super reliable. The adhesive is just perfect. I have no problems with gumming up my needle, nothing. I've been testing it out for a while so that I can tell you all about it. So I used that Sulky fusible web for the fleece. And You can also use soft fuse. Soft fuse is another fusible web that we offer at sulky.com because we're kind of waiting to bring you the sulky fusible fleece. But so what I did was on the right side of the fleece, I put the fusible web and I put a press cloth over that, and I very lightly pressed my iron to the press cloth, just barely transferring that adhesive to the fleece. Because yes, I know you are not supposed to put your iron onto fleece, you know, that can melt. But this fusible is, I don't know, it's just very easy to use. You don't need very much heat from the iron, and you don't need to have your iron up super duper hot. I mean, honestly, I barely touched my iron to the back of that fusible, and I had my press cloth in between, and it transferred to the fleece just fine. Then I kind of auditioned the mustache on the mask, put it on my face, made sure that the mustache was kind of in the right spot. I held it there with one finger, turned it, so that the wrong side was facing up, and just with the tip of my iron, pressed it to activate the fusible. Now, if you don't want to do all that, you certainly could also attach your fleece using Sulky KK2000. Just spray the wrong side of your fleece mustache and put it on your mask on the right side, and then stitch around it to secure. And this is air soluble, so it's going to dissipate within about 36 to 48 hours, and you will have no trace of that temporary spray adhesive. So that's another thing you can do if you don't want to mess with, having to be real careful with your iron and the fusible web on something like a fleece. Now, if you're doing faux fur, we can't use the iron at all. So if you're doing faux fur, you'll need to pin that in place and then stitch your applique, removing the pins as you sew. I really hope one of you does this with faux fur, because a faux fur mustache mask sounds so awesome. I may have to just go and bite the bullet and make one. All right. Okay. Rochelle is saying you should not stitch on a mask. Holes are bad. So that is a good point. Now, this is a double layer mask. We have our embellished front piece, and then we also have our lining piece. Now, you can also put an interlining in between. You can add, excuse me, you can add a interlining piece, so a soft and sheer extra, like a fusible stabilizer on both your front and back mask. You could use a cutaway plus, which is a heavier weight stabilizer, also fusible, and then you'll have a much stiffer mask, but you'll have 4 layers then through your mask. So even if you have holes, if you've created holes from stitching or machine embroidery, you will have that on the outer portion of your mask, and then you would have 3 layers behind that. So be sure to add any interfacing or stabilizer after you do the applique, and then it kind of seals up any holes that you would create with your embellishments. So very good point there. Thank you. Where do you find the pattern? So on the Sulky blog, it's blog.sulky.com. You will find our blog that's called Costume Masks to Sew, I believe is what it's called. And there you will find the applique printable. It's just a 1-page PDF. It has the skeleton, the mask-o'-lantern, the mustache, and the lips I have ready to go, but I just have not done that one yet. Also, in that blog post, you'll find a link to this mask pattern. It's a free mask pattern from All Free Sewing, and we've been making this mask pattern since last February. We presented it on the Sulky blog. So it's a free mask pattern from allfreesewing.com, and you will find that link directly in the Costume Masks to Make blog post. Okay. Okay. Let me make sure I'm addressing all of the, hopefully I just addressed that for you, Twyla, so you can get the pattern. Okay. And yes, grandkids going to love them. The more obnoxious, the better for Halloween. That's my favorite comment of the day. Okay. And yes, Amy makes a good point. So if your kids are old enough to sew their own masks or to learn how to sew, this is a great little project to involve them in their own part of their costume. Or if you go out and purchase a costume, you can add a mask or a treat bag or something that puts a little handmade spin on it. I always would make my kids costumes. I love Halloween. Of course, I love to sew and I want them involved in the process. I always remember growing up, my mom down in the basement sewing my Halloween costumes and personalizing them. And I say, I want that sparkly fabric. And, it's so many memories I have of that. And I really wanted that for my kids as well. Well, there was one year, one of my kids found this, we were walking by in the store and they found this costume in a bag that they absolutely had to have. And I had to just break down and say, okay, we're getting that for you, but what can we do to still make some part of it homemade or add to that costume and make a sort of handmade twist to it? There's also, speaking of this cry thread, which is our giveaway today for one lucky viewer, if you have a purchase costume, you can use this cry thread and top stitch over the top of some of the details of that purchase costume, and all of a sudden your kid is reflective out at night. So I have done that as well. One of my children had a Darth Vader costume. That's the costume in question. And I just top stitched over some of the existing stitches on that costume. And, now he's got this cool reflective quality to him. And we did something together that, made it a little bit more handmade, made it a little more hands-on, and personalized that and set it apart from all the other Darth Vaders out in the universe. So that's another idea too, is you can always take something purchased and add a little bit to it, put some machine embroidery on it, add a homemade cape to something. Capes are really easy to sew and really fun to personalize as well with embroidery or appliques. So always ways to bring in your talents and ways to personalize things using these great special effect threads. So again, our giveaway today for one lucky viewer who is commenting, sharing, giving us those likes and loves and comments and shares, you are eligible to win a spool of cry thread as well as a fun pack of machine embroidery designs that I will be compiling and sending you so that you can try out the cry thread as well as get your Halloween on a little bit early and kind of prepare for the coming, parties, get-togethers. Hopefully we have parties and get-togethers, block parties, outdoor trick-or-treating, all of those things that hopefully we can do this year. Last year, we weren't as lucky. So, again, make sure you are commenting, liking, sharing, putting your questions in the comments and in the live chat here. And Amy is saying, yes, the cry thread is also great for adding reflection to athletic clothing. Exactly. When I started off the show today, I was talking about how it's not just good for Halloween. You know, these glowy threads and cry thread and neon thread, all these fun Halloween threads we always think of for Halloween, but they are great for running at night, walking the dogs, you know, at dusk, that kind of thing. And you are, you know, able to be seen. Make a little bike bag for your bike if you like to exercise, you know, at sundown or after sundown. So all kinds of things that you can do with these fun threads. So I really hope that you guys give them a try and have a lot of fun as we head into more and more fun Halloween things to sew. So grab up your free pattern. I linked to it in the description of today's post. You will have to go through the checkout process, even though it is $0, but that is simply so that it will be added to your Sulky account, and then you can access it at any time. You don't have to print it out right now or today. It will be stored there on your account, and you can download it and print it as you would like to make one. Again, so many different ways of personalizing this treat bag, using different fabrics for different times of year, making this out of denim with a cool upholstery fabric on the bottom for a really durable bucket bag. So this is great for your decor. This would also be really cute around a potted plant because it has that oval base. So you can insert a potted plant or insert a kind of plastic bowl that has your treat candy in it. So really fun little project that you can create in no time. So I hope you all have fun with that. And I also wanted to mention, you know, we do have our free webcast coming up next week. It's next Tuesday already. The gals from So English Fabrics will be joining us on Tuesday for the Sulky Perfect Tee. So we will be going over how to create the best t-shirt you've ever worn, fit to your body and your body type. And the t-shirt pattern is completely customizable, much like the treat bag we were making today. So you can choose from V-neck, scoop neck, crew neck. You can choose your sleeves, short sleeves, 3/4 or long, and you can choose your hem style. So if you like kind of a scoop hem like this model is wearing, or if you want more of a straight t-shirt, so many different ways of making millions of t-shirts, none that are alike. So you will absolutely love this brand new pattern. So English created this pattern specifically for the webcast. So it is the Sulky Perfect Tee. We have the pattern for sale at sulky.com, but we also have kits available. You can grab up this kit in either white, shown here, or navy, and it is the best t-shirt fabric you will ever feel. It is that luxurious, high quality, high end t-shirt fabric. You will also get construction thread and embellishment thread, as well as a few stabilizers that will help you create your t-shirt. So along with the color of fabric, navy or white, you will also need to choose your embellishment style, whether you want to do hand embroidery or machine embroidery on that pocket. So we will be going over both embellishment opportunities, and just for signing up for the free webcast, you will get this beautiful new geometric triangle design, both in hand embroidery and machine embroidery. So just by signing up, you will get those freebies, which you can choose to use for your pocket or elsewhere on your shirt, maybe in the middle of the back or along the shoulder or even along the hem of your t-shirt. So lots and lots of stuff we will be learning next week, and I will go over this a little bit more on So What next week. We're going to be talking about garment sewing and you know how we're really going to take the fear out of creating your own garments. So if you've never sewn a garment before, or if you really consider yourself a quilter or a machine embroiderer, dip your toe in a little garment sewing with this great quick and easy fantastic t-shirt pattern. I'm also going to unveil my brand new serger next week on So What. It's sitting here in its box and it's driving me crazy because I'm waiting to share my excitement with you next week as I open the box. Beverly says, will we get the pattern with the kit? Yes. If you buy a kit, the t-shirt pattern is included. If you don't spring for a kit, then you'll want to grab up the digital pattern on its own. But the kit is at a great, great price. It's on sale until next Tuesday night. So you'll have about a week to get that sale price on that great fabric, stabilizers, thread, needles, everything you need to create a fantastic t-shirt. All right. Let's see. Oh, and you don't need a serger to create this. You can use your regular sewing machine. So if you have a serger, let's use it. If you don't, no worries. We're going to take you through both ways of creating the t-shirt. Okay. All right. I know, still in the box. It has been hard. I want to open it so bad. Okay. Link to the t-shirt. So I linked to the webcast in the description of the post. So register, get all signed up, and then once you register, there's links for the pattern, the kit, all that type of stuff. But we will respond to your comment with a link directly to the pattern and to the kit as well. I apologize that I just inadvertently didn't put that those individual links in the description of today's post. Okay, so another thing really quick before we go today that I wanted to bring to your attention, if you have subscribed to our newsletter and you get sulky emails, then you may already be aware that we have another trip with Craft Tours scheduled for next year. We wanted to give, as much time for COVID to kind of, I shouldn't say pass, but, for us to understand how to travel now that things have changed in the world. So this tour is scheduled for next September. So we have a year to plan. And what's really great about that is if you sign up for our Europe trip for Sulky's 35th anniversary, you can get on a payment plan with Craft Tours and they will bill you monthly leading up until your departure date. So you can really do this in manageable chunks and go on this trip of a lifetime. So if you start planning now or planting the seed that, hey, I think I really want to go to this, we are going to be going to Germany, Austria, and Italy. And we're going in September, which traditionally is Fashion Week in Italy. So it is a fantastic, fun time to be in Milan, see the models walking around the, central station. The photographers are on the scene. You're seeing the window displays and the red carpets coming out, and it's a really, really fun and exciting time. And the weather is generally really great in September for all of these locations. So we don't have to be in the middle of snowstorms and things like that on the tour bus. It's going to be really, really great time. So Europe, Sulky 2022. I wanted to let you all know about it. If you have not signed up for our newsletter and you're not getting those updates, you can also sign up at sulky.com so you start getting those emails. But these are the kinds of things we're talking about. So along with the Europe tour, which starts September 11th, we have a pre-tour package, which is optional, but the Europe tour, we have to all start out together in New York. We fly out of New York. So no matter where you come from, you have to get that initial flight to New York. And we thought, collectively, Sulky and Craft Tours, since we're meeting up at the airport in New York anyways, why don't we do this pre-tour where we get together, we get to go shopping at Mood Fabrics, we go to the fashion district, we have a really nice, beautiful Italian dinner where we celebrate the 35 years of Sulky, and then we have some free time, so we can go see a Broadway show, we can, walk around Central Park, we can go to the museums, all that great stuff, so you can get your Europe vacation started in New York. You've got to get there anyways. So join us for the pre-tour. You'll be with like-minded people. You can make friends. You can make your busmate or meet your busmate or whoever you want to, travel through Europe with. Come alone, come with friends. You're going to make so many friends on this tour. Our last Germany tour with Sulky, which was 2019, I have made some really, really great friends. Some of you are always watching the So What as well. And I love, love, love seeing your faces. We still have a group text going from our last Germany trip, which we did during the Christmas markets. So we've changed the tour up a little bit to offer some different locations. So if you did join us for our Christmas market tour in 2019, this one is going to be a little bit different. We're going to a different castle. We're going to see Neuschwanstein Castle. There's so many different things we will be doing. So 4-day pre-tour package is optional. But like I said, we have to get to New York anyways. So why not meet up a little bit early and be with a tour guide and visit these great locations in New York. Now, another option for this tour is a post tour in Tuscany. So if you want to do the whole thing, we will be together from September 8th to September 25th, starting out in New York and ending in Tuscany. So the Tuscany, 4 days in Tuscany, we will be with an Italian chef, this Italian mama who is going to teach us how to make authentic pasta. We will have a winery tour. We will see an olive oil press that is like so old and so amazing, and you've never tasted olive oil like this in your life. So there's an organic winery as well where we have a big spread of fantastic meats and cheeses to go with the wine. So that is the Tuscany post tour. That is also optional. So if you want to just do the main, if you want to just do the main tour, September 11 to 22, if you want to do it all, there are these 3 options. You can kind of pick and choose your own adventure to hang out with us in the middle of September 2022. So some really, really beautiful, great places to go. If these are on your bucket list, this is the way to do it. You've got a tour bus, friends you will just make and know forever. I will be the host on your tour bus and with you the entire way. I will also be taking you through 2 projects. If you so desire, we will be doing a couple of different projects throughout. So we get our crafting on, we get our sewing on. When we're in Italy, we're going to a silk factory, and they actually open up this tiny little shop by the silk factory where you get to purchase the most wonderful scarves, and you can get fabric yardage in Italy. I mean, it's so amazing. So I'm going to teach you how to create something. If you want to use fabric that you purchase there to make the project, you certainly may, or you can draft your pattern of the project we're going to create and then take it home and make it at your leisure. So lots and lots of things coming up. I'm super excited to, get out there in the world and be in Italy around Fashion Week. And it's so inspiring for all of your future makes and creations. And like I said, if you've always wanted to go to any of these places and you don't have a travel partner, come alone. You will meet people, you will make friends, and it's just a great, great way to travel. So enough about my craft tours spiel, but the links to all of that went out in our So What email that went out this morning. So like I said, you can sign up for our e-newsletters or sign up for our newsletters to get informed of these things, or you can go directly to crafttours.com and look for the Sulky tour. You can search by location, so Germany or Italy, and you can find it, or you can simply look for all tours and find that sulky tour and learn all about it. All right. Yes, have to take an entire empty suitcase on that trip. Yes, you do. You need a large suitcase, then you put your little bit smaller suitcase inside, pack that one, and then when you get there, you've got an extra suitcase for all of your fabrics and souvenirs and all that kind of stuff to take back with you. Okay. Cecilia says, is this all a bus tour? No, there are a couple of airport transfers. So after the main tour on the 22nd, if you are continuing on to Tuscany, we will actually get on a plane for that. And let's see. Actually, I think going into Milan, there's a plane transfer. Maybe that's where the plane transfer is. I'm sorry, it's a year out. I'm trying to get used to the itinerary and things like that. So I apologize for not knowing all of that. But we do take a tour bus, and the tour is capped at, I believe, 30 people. I will double check, but it is capped so that there is room on the bus to all spread out. So you can be with your people, or you can choose to have more room around you. And if you have any other questions regarding traveling during, these crazy times we're having, you can please contact Craft Tours, because they have done a lot of tours since COVID started, and they really know how to handle, their portion of the tour and escorting guests, and they know a lot of the rules and regulations. So please contact them if you have questions about that. Okay, and yes, you need to renew your passport. We're a year out. All right, so I hope you all enjoyed. It does sound like so much fun. And again, get your Halloween on, grab your free bucket bag pattern, check out our Halloween boutique at sulky.com. Get inspired for all of those sparkly, reflective, and glowy threads. And I hope you have a great day making something fantastic. Reach out to us at any time at info@sulky.com. We are here to assist you and make sure that you're having the best experience with Sulky and the best experience at your sewing machine. So always reach out to us if you need, and have a great rest of your day, everyone. We'll see you next week.